Welcome to the Home Business Podcast with Richard Captain Henderson, publisher of Home Business Magazine, and Sherilyn Colleen, managing editor. This how-to show helps you successfully operate your home-based business.
Greetings and welcome to the Home Business Podcast. I'm Richard Captain Henderson, your skipper at Home Business TV.
And I'm Shelby Kara, your co-host today.
Let's secure, foresee, and get underway. COVID-19 has driven us all more and more into a virtual world. Optimizing your online presence is more important than ever to your small business success.
Optimizing your online presence can result in major followings on social media, bringing new interest into your services, and filling your lead funnels with genuine prospects.
It can be the difference between looking for work and being inundated with prospects, but there's just one question. How do you optimize your online presence in a way that your competitors are not?
To help us answer this question, we are joined today by Luke Hyde, an exceptional 19-year-old entrepreneur and founder of the Small Business Digital Roadmap.
This Generation Zer has an inspiring story as the generation leading changes in today's small business world.
So greetings, Luke Hyde, and welcome to the Home Business Podcast.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really excited to share some insights that hopefully your audience can take some value away from.
Cool. So, Shelby, are you a Gen Zer?
I am not considered a Gen Zer. I would say I'm more of a millennial, kind of
Really?
on the border. Yes, I'm not Gen Zer. No.
Wait, so I aged out of being a Gen Zer about 2 or 3 years ago.
I think you've aged out of being a boomer. Yes.
Aged out of it.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I don't know. The Generation Z is taking over. So
yes, they are.
you got. I think it's great is you got like. Online's been around for a while, but maybe you bring some new perspectives to it. That's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, honestly, I think being young is, in the beginning was a little bit of a challenge. People are like, hey, I don't know if I want a 19-year-old or 18-year-old, 17-year-old when I first started to help me with my business. But really, as I've kind of started to embrace it because I grew up with all this technology, it's basically, all that I've had around me this whole time. And now a lot of people are actually encouraged by that fact. Oh, wow. Yeah. This kid must know what he's talking about because he's been dealing with it since day one. It's not like I'm some, older person trying to learn how to use it and then start doing it.
That's me.
People. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Is anybody you show up and they're like, who is this? Who is this kid? I mean, I imagine you break the ice, you start working, and then they say, "Well, you're doing this great job," and then it all kind of melts away, and then it just turns into a good business relationship.
Exactly.
Well, Gen Zers, I mean, they grew up with technology and social media. They grew up when it was at its prime. So, what better person to teach you about small business and digital marketing than a Gen Zer? That's how I see it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I definitely, what we do with all of our clients and all of our businesses is I take care of the digital marketing side of things because that's our expertise. And that leaves our clients and the people that we work with the opportunity so that they can take care of what they're good at. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a chiropractor or I'm a dentist and I know everything about that particular business. But what I do know are the online marketing skills that are pretty universal and are hopefully going to be able to help, some people out. So.
Let's get to know you a little bit better, Luke. How have you been able to leap forward as a top digital marketer and as a young Generation Zer?
So it definitely has been slow, but I've been consistent with it. Now, I never really, when I was growing up, I didn't always think, yes, online marketing is what I want to get into. I honestly was a pretty smart student. I was the salutatorian of my class, and a lot of times people thought
that was not in my ballpark. So what? I'm struggling to be the last class in my class. What is salutatorian? Is that like the second from the valedictorian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I kind of was on a track to maybe be like a lawyer or doctor or something. That's what my grandparents kind of thought I'd be good at or something. But I really wanted to have more of a bigger impact on the world. And I know those are definitely, high impact fields, but, blood, not really my thing. Working in court, stuff like that. I don't know if I'd want to do that.
How do you bring grandparents around and they want you, they thought you were going to be a brain surgeon. You said, well, I want to do something meaningful with my life. I'm going to go into digital marketing.
I want to work off my phone.
Yeah, so it's definitely, it was a challenge in the beginning of people, but I think it's been great because what's cool is I've been able to work with small businesses all over the country. And what I see and where I get the most satisfaction from is being able to help these people actually grow their businesses. And to get back to your question of how I kind of started growing it, I started out just talking to people in my network, kind of saying, hey, I started, finding an interest in online marketing, something that I started to be passionate about, unlike some other things that I had been in school. So I was like, maybe I can start, trying to do this as a possible side hustle at the time. So I was a janitor. While I was sweeping and mopping the floors and stuff, I would listen to podcasts actually about online marketing. That's where I started learning my first information.
No one's written a book on it yet, so that's the best way.
Yeah. So it was great. And then after I started learning some of these skills, I just kind of told some people about it, and some people were willing to give me a try kind of within my own family. And eventually I just started getting more and more actual experience, started leveraging those connections to grow. And I've started doing more, like I said, I just did more outreach to other people, leveraging the case studies I had in the past. And it kind of just snowballed from there.
Yeah, that's the best way to get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Definitely.
kind of going into our next question then, Luke, why do you feel like it's important for small businesses to optimize their online presence?
Sure. So I think a lot of people, unfortunately nowadays, they know that it's important to be online because, especially with everything that's going on right now, businesses almost have to have some type of online presence if they want to get found. Now, hopefully things are opening up more, but the thing that people aren't doing is optimizing their online presence. And the reason that it's important is because a simple kind of like keyword change, or simply just posting a couple more times per week on social media, could really make the difference between your Google results and maybe you being 4th place and you being 3rd place. And the top 3 results, for example, get into be what's called the Google Map Pack. So if Google's, you're searching for something and they see only the top 3 results, that can make a tremendous amount of difference for your business. So really optimizing your online presence, even just in small factors that I kind of cover in my program, can really make or break your online marketing journey, really.
So about optimizing, people think optimize is like slimming down, or what we're talking about here is more doing it more effectively. Improving the online presence you have might even involve adding some more content or optimizing some different keywords.
Yeah. So when I say kind of optimizing, I mean, I definitely is more basically improving, becoming more effective with what you're doing. Some people have a website, but it doesn't look good on your mobile phone. And a lot of people don't realize just how important it is to have a mobile friendly website, because nowadays more people are probably searching on their phone than they are on a computer. So that's one example. You want to make sure that your site's mobile optimized.
That's so funny you bring that up, because I deal with so many people, and they'll like cram an encyclopedia into one page. And I'll tell them, I'll say, the rule of thumb I use is just look at a smartphone, look at the screen on a smartphone. Doesn't make sense there. And if you put more detail than that, it's just people are going to skip through it.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, that's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the virtual non-touch world does naturally foster trust and distrust and doubt. How can you better build trust online to back up better optimizing
Sure.
presence?
Yeah, so I think it's really important. A lot of small businesses, I think, are almost kind of afraid of online marketing for that reason. They don't want to get bad negative reviews online, because those definitely can have an impact. But I think the best way to kind of foster trust online is to really try and get as many positive reviews as you can on your different social platforms, on your Google page. And if you ever do get a negative review, respond to it and respond to it accordingly. You don't want to just leave it or ignore it. Or what's even worse is respond to it in a negative way and start kind of like a confrontation. You don't want to be fighting customers over on your review page, because that just does not look good.
That's a good point you bring up. I frankly, maybe it's my generation, I don't pay that much attention to reviews, but I have started to more and more because it seems to be so much critical in the online world. But what I've noticed is I have seen a couple of negative reviews, and I immediately raises a red flag. But when I see some kind of a response from the business owner that's been negatively reviewed, that changes my whole attitude on it. I kind of give it some due process and try to weigh. But that's a really good point you make. By at least respond, and
Definitely.
that could be 80% of solving the problem.
Oh, sure. No, I definitely agree, because it happens sometimes that, everybody has negative experiences. I would say something would probably be wrong with your business if you don't find somebody who's unsatisfied. That's just the nature of human beings. And the way that you respond to those negative reviews is really what makes it important. And that all kind of comes down to being authentic. So when you're posting things online, coming up with content, being authentic with your online presence, again, I think is a very important factor to build trust.
Yeah, I think people can see right through things right away. One of the things I'm starting to see more and more, like online review services. I don't know where that, I guess, what are they paying people to put reviews up? I'm starting to see more and more of that.
You can kind of tell if it's not authentic when they do that, though. So
yeah,
at least what I've seen, you can kind of tell.
Yeah, I definitely think there are ways.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people just want to be heard no matter what, if they had a good experience or a bad experience. So I think that's why we're just seeing a lot more reviews nowadays. It's just
what do you think about like building trust, like one-way communication? Responding by emails, of course, maybe working in some text. I have found when people pop up to chat when you come onto your website, that that sometimes builds a little bit more trust. Are there any other pointers you can think of?
Sure. Yeah. Adding a web chat to your website is a great idea. I definitely encourage that. And you can do similar type things on like Facebook Messenger. You can kind of put together almost like an automatic system. If somebody messaged your Facebook page, then they can kind of see some questions pre-filled and everything. And then like what you said, email marketing and text marketing is a great way to definitely get more business, but you have to do it effectively. If you're constantly sending out spammy content, spammy emails, that's not good. So you need to balance it out. I'm
talking about just doing emails and texting one-on-one with, somebody who's a prospect and you're trying to turn them into a client or, a core client, just keeping in touch one-on-one with email. Yeah, I'm verboten on spamming that. It just shows it's so cheap to do. It just shows no chance of dying out the way that people are still spamming. And I think that's a way to really build up. Maybe even putting someone on a mailing list too soon and sending them out. You got to be even careful about that if you think you established a relationship and then you kind of start mass emailing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And honestly, to answer maybe then further your question, something that I've been using a lot more recently and I think is super important. If you're not using it yet, definitely check it out. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but Loom is an awesome software to record videos, and it's super easy. And that's a great way to almost what you could do and what I do sometimes for potential clients.
And that's a good point.
I can record a video of their screen. It's like 30 seconds long. Just saying, hey, I checked out your website, checked out your social media page. Here's a couple of recommendations I have. Let me know if you want to chat about it. And I can really pump those out. So, I can send a decent.
So you're in a short video.
Yes.
To them. That's one other thing I wanted to ask you while you're talking about that is what is your recommendation on putting like, embedding a video on the homepage or some appropriate page just to introduce yourself?
Sure.
Maybe the YouTube. Do you think that's pretty good for building trust?
Definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of, small businesses, I mean, all they use is just like stock photos. And like
Mhm.
we were talking about, people can see right through that. Honestly, I think it would almost be better to use more authentic photos that maybe are a little less quality than
Right.
fake photos, because I think that, if you can actually see the people on the other side of the screen who you are going to potentially be dealing with, it kind of is like the, idea of adding a face to a name
All
that
right. So you're
does
telling me
build
I got to
trust.
take down my stock photo of Brad Pitt that I have on my bio. All right.
Might
Probably.
be a good
It's a little
idea.
misleading.
It's the hair color,
All right, so kind of going off of that then, Luke, things are always changing in the fast moving world of different social medias. So why do you recommend not boosting posts on Instagram or Facebook?
Sure. So, boosting posts on Facebook and Instagram is something that a lot of small businesses do. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because I think the reason that Facebook and Instagram came up with this, to kind of spill the dirty secrets behind it, is they came up with this boost and sponsor post idea to make it super easy for people to go onto their platform and spend money. However, because it's so easy to do, the way that they make it easy is that they auto populate a lot of the information for you, and they leave out a lot of other options that you can do. For example, it can automatically just start targeting everyone in like the whole United States. For example, I'll see ads on Instagram for real estate agents on the other side of the country, and I contact them. I say, hey, just want to let you know I'm in Michigan, you're in California. I don't know if your ad if you meant to show it over here. And they're like, oh yeah, I just boosted my post, blah blah blah. So it can do sponsored posts and boost posts, but you need to be careful with it. So make sure you go through all the steps to make sure that you're targeting the right people. And what I would even recommend is a better idea is using the full ads manager for you. That allows you all of the targeting capabilities that's going to allow you to get in front of your ideal customer exactly where and when you want to be there.
So you're not like poo-pooing the idea of boosting posts. You're just talking about doing it right and being smart about it, and make sure you're using all the tools in there to target.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. What about, I mean, have you ever heard any nightmare stories? I've heard some people that have done some boosting with Instagram. I think it was Instagram, and suddenly their account got locked or something. Is there some minefields you need to watch out for when boosting board? Make sure it all stays above board.
Yeah, so boosting, whether you're advertising, using the ads manager and everything, whenever you're running an ad on Facebook and Instagram, they're connected. So that's why.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
them together. So there's certain rules for sure. For example, you have to be careful with actually the types of images that you're, if for whatever reason, maybe if you have profanity in there or whatever, or some type of like sexual content or anything, that's going to be not allowed. You might not even be able to start doing it. So make sure that you're not promoting anything like that, but also kind of some smaller things that people would not maybe think about is there's certain restrictions on actually like how many words you can have in the image. So if the image has like more than 20% of it being words, then it could actually be flagged as something that Facebook or an Instagram isn't like, it's not Facebook, Instagram friendly. So basically what happens is if people's ad, when you are doing these, make sure that you are being careful with how many words you're having on the actual images that you're creating as ads, images and videos, because if it's taking up too much of the screen, then that can actually be considered like a non-friendly advertisement to Facebook.
That's a good point. I hadn't even
so what
heard
happens,
that one before, but
yeah.
Okay, you got to pay attention to the words in your image. Well, full disclosure, I believe the monopoly Google has over online search should be broken up, or at least heavily regulated. It is time to take on big tech. But that said, Google is still the big kahuna that's pretty much vital to the survival of any small business. Luke, why is Google My Business such a big Google My Business so big for smaller home businesses? Do I have the term right? Google My Business?
Yeah. So it's like a Google My Business, like your Google My Business profile. Now, that's super important, like I was talking about earlier with when I talked about optimizing. So when you are searching for, say, a dentist near me or something, you're going to search for it, and advertisements are going to be the first couple that show up. But then after that, there's going to be a bunch of organic results. And your Google My Business profile is what shows up actually on Google Maps. So if anybody sees you on Google Maps, that's the profile that you're going to see. Now, the reason it's so important is that people are constantly searching for these things, so you don't actually have to spend any money to be seen by these people. For example, for my program, the Small Business Digital Roadmap, I set up kind of like a fake business to show people how they can go through all the steps, how to set up a Google My Business, how to set up social media profiles. And this is not a real, it was like a gym or something. And within like a month, I got about 600 views to my Google My Business profile, even though I didn't do anything to it. And like I said, it wasn't even a real business.
Does the profile, I mean, does it kind of build itself, or do you have to key the content in? I know we've done it for, our business. How much of this kind of like auto populates, and how much do you got to get in there and make sure the data is correct?
Yeah, so that's a big thing, is that there's basic information that you have to fill out pretty much everything yourself, like your address and your name and everything.
Right.
But then there's a lot of smaller details as well, like subcategories and different products that you offer, and then talking about the prices and the hours. And honestly, I truly believe that the more detailed, more fleshed out your Google My Business profile is, more people are going to click on it, and Google is going to see that you are doing a better job. And because of that, Google always wants to show their searchers the best results.
Right.
So if somebody has a fully fleshed out page and somebody doesn't have a fully fleshed out page, Google's algorithm is going to be like, oh, this fully fleshed out page is probably going to be better for my searcher, so this is the one that I'm going to rank higher.
So, but it's also like picking up keywords and indexing those as it goes through your My Business profile.
Yeah. So, like I said, you can choose, for example, if you are, maybe you're an attorney or something, you type in all your information. And then what you can do is then say you are a family attorney, you can put that as a subcategory in there. And then in your description and all of that, you can fill in those keywords related to being a family attorney. Now, that makes a big difference than if you just said, oh, we're a law firm, just a law firm, just a law firm, because it's a lot more generic.
I think just by you mentioning this here, I would bet maybe half of our audience really hasn't even looked into this. So, audience, look into your My Business profile and at least get some basic details in there.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great too, because it makes it so easy for people to contact you. I mean, that's where you have your phone number, email. They're even coming out now with like a messenger application where people can text you right in there.
Oh, I've seen
and you
that.
can start, and you can start conversations. And that's just a free way to generate business. And I mean, who doesn't like free business? So I would definitely encourage everybody to take a look at that and make sure that
there's nothing better than free business.
Definitely.
All right, well, Luke Hyde, this has been a great discussion on better optimizing our online presence. Do you have any final points you'd like to share with us in the audience?
Sure. The last thing that I would say is that I would tell everybody not to give up, because a lot of people start doing things with online and maybe it doesn't work out the first time, so they get scared. They stop doing it because they're not used to it as much. So you really just have to learn the right way to do it and then be consistent with what you're doing, and you're going to see results. Things like search engine optimization we talked about, that is a long process. You can start running online advertisements to maybe bring in an influx of customers sooner, but it definitely, like pretty much all areas of business, comes with some trial and error. So don't give up, keep going. And, if you ever need any help, make sure to try and reach out to the community, look up things online. There's so many different places you can find, answers to questions nowadays.
Well, Luke Hyde, thanks for joining us today. You are wise beyond your years.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
To learn more about Luke Hyde and his small business digital roadmap, please visit lukehyde.com or our podcast website for more information on guests.
Thanks for joining us today on the Home Business Podcast. Share your feedback with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at our website, homebusinessmag.com. Visit the website for more information on advertising. Subscribe to our newsletter. Read the Home-Based Business Startup Guide. For more info, visit homebusinessmag.com or the expo at homebusinessexpo.com. I'm Richard Captain Henderson saying anchors away.
I'm Shelby Kara. We'll talk again soon. Until next time.
Make it a great home-based biz day.